Hi guys, this is Mia from Mimo Design Laser Files, and I'm working on some of my Christmas spinners today, a dog and cat version. And I actually wanted to show you how you can draw a dog. I only need the silhouette, similar to this one, but I'll show you how to draw it with details and also how to make it a layered project. So first of all, you want to open LightBurn. I'm only designing in LightBurn, and you want to draw a oval or round shape. If you hold down your shift key, you can make it a perfect oval, but a dog face obviously isn't perfectly oval, so round, so I'll make it a tiny bit oval. I then want to make another oval. This will be the ears, and I'll do one more, which are going to be the mouth. I'll then hit my arrow tool and I'll angle the ear and position it somewhere how I want it to be. The same goes for the mouth. So like this, I think. And right now it doesn't look like much. I could duplicate this, flip it over and move it to the other side. And now I have a poor drawn dog. So I want to fix that. So I want to make some shapes to the ear. Since it's an oval, I can't really edit any nodes. But what I can do and what I will do is go to Tools and choose the Form selection. I want to make the 16 points, and then you can see that it made this kind of grid. I can now grab my corners and I can kind of shape this ear to how I want it to look. So I wanted to follow the face just a tiny bit. Want this a little bit down. And this. And you just continue doing this until you have what you think looks good. And you can play around with it as much as you want or as little as you want. But I think this is good for my project. So now I'll duplicate it. I will flip it over and move it to the opposite side. If I pick both of them by holding down Control, I can group them and I can click my heads while I'm still holding down my Control key, and I'll then align V-center. And the ears are now centered. Now to the mouth. Again, I'll choose the form selection and I'll give it a lip. So let's see if I can do that somehow. I'll also manipulate the upper side of the mouth. And now that I have it warped, I can actually go in and edit my nodes. So I'll find the center, which probably is this one, and I can then go in and move my dots up to where I think it should be. I can then use these angled dots to kind of shape it more. I hope this makes sense. And I'm sorry if my voice is a little rusty, but I was just down with the flu. So I did notice that I had a kind of angle here that I want to remove. So this looks fine to me now. I now want a tongue, and I'll actually pick my square tool and draw a square. If I hold down the Control key, sorry, I need to click this arrow first. Then you hold down your control key and this blue dot will appear. You can then use that to angle, or shape and round the corners. And I now have a tongue. I probably need to widen it just a tiny bit, like this. And also I'm going to stretch my mouth just a little, like that. And I'll need a bottom lip, so I'll just make a oval shape again, and I'll align it to the upper mouth. And I will weld all this together once I'm done, so it might look a little confusing right now, but that's okay. I now want to make the nose, and when you take your polygon tool, you can create a polygon. I don't want the nose to be polygon shaped, but if I hold down, I have to choose the arrow first, and then hold down the control key, I can actually choose how many sides that I want this one to be. I want this to be triangular, and I'll just flip it, mirror my selection, like that. And it's a very sharp nose right now, so I want to round it. I could do that by picking the radius tool, but it's just as easy to make an offset. So I'll choose offset and outward, and I want to round it. And I'll just go ahead and click it as big as I want for the edges to look right. Then I'll pick delete original, and again I can go in and I can downscale this nose, so I actually have a nose now. Once again I'll pick my mouth and align it to V-center. So you see how this is kind of looking like a dog now. For the eyes, I'm also picking my round and doing an oval. Inside this oval, I'm also making one, which will be the pupil. And I like to make a little dot. And I actually want that to be round, so I'm hitting my control key. So this is round. I think I might go ahead and make this pupil just a little bigger and move this a little, like that. I'll then grab the eye, I'll group it, and I'll duplicate it, flip it over, mirror my selected, and I now have the eyes, which I actually think should be just a tiny bit bigger. And I might move this a little, so I'll just hit ungroup, push it somewhere down there maybe, group it, duplicate, mirror, move it over, and that's cute. So the eyes I also going to group, and I'll pick the heads and align it to V-center. So I now have my dog. I'm actually thinking that I'll warp the scalp just a little. So I'll go to Tools, Deform Selection. I think I might choose Warp Selection instead. That's actually not what I'm aiming for, so I'll just go back. Like that. Let's see if I can do it with the deform selection. I'll just touch it a tiny bit like this, maybe move these dots to the ear, because then I'll know that I didn't mess around too much with the head, but I did warp it just enough, so I should be able to edit notes, and I'll then take this one instead. So I don't worry about how these parts under the ear looks like. I just want this outer part to be a little less round, maybe even these ones as well for the cheeks. So I'll just use that one. I'll just move it a tiny bit, so it's not as oval as it was before, but still shaped. So, like that. Now that I have this, I can go ahead and pick everything that I know will be layered. So the ears will be layered, my mouth will be layered. I still have to weld the mouth, so I might wait with that. But the ears are done, so I'll duplicate them and I'll move them over here. So I know that I have these. The nose I want to have on top, so I'll duplicate that one as well. The eyes I want engraved, so I'll make those red, which is my engraved color. And now I need to weld this mouth together. I do want the tongue to cut over or be overlapping the under part of the cheek. So I'll take my cheek and I'll weld that to the shape of the head. So I now have this. So this is what will be layered, if that makes sense. Whenever I create files, I'd like to make some scored guidelines just to show where things are meant to go. So I'll take my nose and I'll choose inwards, and I just make an offset around 0.5 or 1, and I'll not bleed the original. So the nose I want to weld to the upper part of the mouth, and I now have my scored lines. I don't need this part to score, so I'll make a little square from point to point here, like that. And since this is set to line, I can pick the scored part of the nose, then hold down Control, take this square I just drew, and if I hold down Shift, Alt and press C, it will cut the shapes. I could also go to, let's see where I have it here. There we go. Cut shapes. So you see that it now cuts this part, and I can erase it like this. I want these ends to go over here, so I'll start by ungrouping it. Ungroup. And I'll hit my Boolean, edit notes tool, and I'll just drag these in so they are connected to the other shape. I might make this black so you can see, because I usually just draw in one color, but it might be easier for you to see it like this. So I use black for cutting, red for engraving, and blue for scoring. The tongue I want to cut free, but I still want it to be able to be cut loose, if that makes sense. So if you hit your engraved color, mine is red, as I just said, I can then duplicate the mouth. I can pick the tongue, and like I did before, I can cut shapes and delete this part. So I just did what I did before, but this time, if you look close, it made it an individual shape. So you can now cut the tongue out of one type of material and the mouth from another. I want a little scored line I still want this black. But I want a scored line that makes the middle line on the tongue. So I'll just go ahead and make a line from top to bottom, like that. Maybe even edit my notes to just wobble it a tiny bit, like that. So I can now group this. And I'll just erase this line that I accidentally did. And to make it able to go to the face, I have to duplicate it. And I actually should have done this. I should have ungrouped it, so let's just do that. I'll start by ungrouping it. And I'll duplicate them one at a time. So I'm going to duplicate the mouth, hit Weld. I'll duplicate my tongue, or the outer shape of the tongue, just hit duplicate and hit Weld. So I now have my mouth, my ears. I'm not welded yet, sorry. For the ears, I also want to make the scored line. So I will make a offset at 0.5 inwards, hit OK, and I'll duplicate this outer face, pick my scored lines here, and Ctrl-Alt-C, which is cutting, and it's now cut to the point of where the head is following. So I can now weld my ears on top, like that. And I'll make this one black as well, so you can see what's going on. Let's see, and I think that's about it. Maybe I should make just a little eyebrow. I'll just take my pencil tool, and if I just click it and do like this, I'll have a line. But if you hit escape, it will release. But if I hit my pencil and I hold down my Control key, you can see how it's making this blue line. So it will actually curve your line. And I know this seems a little silly, but I will rotate it like that. And I can even manipulate it a little bit by dragging my corners. And if I edit my notes, I can manipulate it even more. So once I'm satisfied, and I think I am here, I'll go ahead and make an offset of this one. I'll probably make it 1 or even 2, let's see. 1 might even be too much, so let's try with 0.5. I think that's great. So this I can actually engrave now if I make it red. I'll duplicate it and mirror, and I'll move it over the other eye here. I'll once again group them, and I'll make them V-center on the head. So last but not least, I need my mouth here, so I can indicate where this one is supposed to attach. So I'll make an inward offset and not delete. I'll make it blue, and I can now, I think it's easier to just make a square on this bottom part. I'll just angle it a tiny bit so it's somehow going to cut the lines as the face shows. So cut like that. And now I actually want to erase these parts up here, so I'll ungroup, and if I hit edit nodes again, I can actually hover over the lines that I want to delete and hit D, not delete, D as dummy, delta, whatever. I can then mark everything here, hit D, and I have one more here that is overlapping. So I'll take that one, move it down, and there you go. So I can now, I don't want this either. I can now take my mouth and the tongue, the nose and these inner parts. Oh, not these inner parts, sorry. I actually didn't want to erase the other one because I am going to move the entire mouth. But I still want the reference to where it's going. So I'll pick everything besides this line and I'll move it over. I'll take my tongue and just slide it down. Do like this. And make my ear and the nose black as well. And I actually have my layered dog now. I'll just group this. So you have the back of the face. And once this is cut, you then layer the mouth, the tongue, the ears. I want to ungroup them so I can nest them a little better for you if you are buying this file. So you can now layer the ears and the nose on top. And that's it, guys. I hope you learned just a little bit of this. You can play around with it and you'll probably always have something that you're not totally satisfied about. So you can go in and alter as much as you want, but hopefully you learned a little about how to make a layered character, and you can use this for any type of character. This was just the dog face because I'm currently working on a dog. So thank you so much for watching. If you're going to make a project of some sort using this technique, and you're sharing a picture on your social medias, please hashtag it with Mimo Helps. That would mean a lot to me because I can then see if you learned anything from me, and I always love to see your projects. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon.